Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. This is Kay, back at it with a new video. In this video, we're going to discuss seniors buying houses. You heard me right, seniors buying houses. I'm talking 60 and 70, maybe even 75. And why is that trend starting to take place now? Well, there's a lot of young people out here that cannot afford their own house. So the fastest growing group of people buying houses are people in their 60s and 70s. And, 50s too, of course. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. I had to put my earpiece in. So you have 60s on up buying houses. Now, you probably say, well, Kate, what's wrong with that? Well, two things. One is, let's say if you're 60 and you take out a 30-year mortgage, which I doubt they'll probably give you 25. But let's say if they did give you a 30-year mortgage and you're 60 years of age, that means that you would pay off the house at 90. And if they gave you a 25-year mortgage, you would pay it off at 85, which is fine and dandy if you make it that far, right? I'm hoping I make it to 90. It would be nice. And, I got my mental capacity and I'm able to still take care of myself. But that's for another video. So, why is this happening? Well, I think because, I guess seniors saying, I don't want to leave nothing behind. I'm going to spend whatever I got. And more power to you, because I've been seeing a lot of seniors doing that lately. They've just been, buying things that they always wanted because they feel, and I agree with them, that you work 30, 40 years, you might as well spend that money yourself. Because if you leave it to somebody else, which is good, right? All they're going to do is spend it, so you might as well spend it on yourself. But back to the house thing, though. I mean, let's say if you're 65 and you're able to get a mortgage, because, I didn't think you could get a mortgage. When I bought my house, my second house at this time, I no longer have it now. But when I bought it, I think I was like 55, and I kind of had a problem getting it. I didn't go FHA, and I was told that if you go FHA, it'll be a lot easier for you if you did it. But it seemed like, at that time, I was jumping through a lot of hoops to try to get a house, at 55. So imagine at 60 or 65, what it would be like to try to get a mortgage. But I guess if you go FHA, it would work out. But back to the 65, you buy a house at 65 years of age, how many good years do you really think you got? So let's say if you buy a house at 65 and you go 15 years, okay, so now that's 70, 80. You'll be 80 in 15 years. Now, that will work, but let's look at the financial part of it. Number one, isn't that like being like a glorified renter? Because if you don't leave it to anyone, right, that means that eventually the bank gonna get that property back. So that meant that all the money that you put into it, because you got to put down a down payment, you got to do the closing costs, insurance, and taxes, and all these fees that you paying into it, only to give it back in about 15 years, maybe 20 if you're lucky, right? So, I mean, is it really worth it? Is it really worth tying up your money into something that you finna give back that you would never pay off? unless you got a big sum of money somewhere where you can just pay off the mortgage. Now, if you got a house and you 65, 70, and you don't have a mortgage, well, that's good, because that means that you can, live out your days without a mortgage. You still got to pay the taxes, but you can still live out your days without rent or big mortgage payment. So that would work out. And if you wanted to, if the house is paid off, then you can sell it. You got equity. You can do whatever you want to do. Now, there are some other scenarios. Now, let's say that you bought a house, right? And you got, adult children, that y'all cohabitate together, and they got their act together. Well, then you can pass the house on to them. And now, the house stays in the family. And that can work. That's a beautiful thing if you want to go that route. Now, the only downside to that is the adult child would have to be able to maintain it, keep up the payments on it. This way they don't lose it. I had a good friend of mine. His father left him like an apartment building, a house, and some other stuff. Well, he never knew how to manage it. And within 2 years, he lost all of it because he had no idea how to keep it. He wasn't working, didn't know how to fix anything. So it just, within 2 years, because it takes about a year or two for the mortgage company to pull the property back from you. So within 2 years, he had lost the property back to the mortgage company. And I see it all the time. Parents leave houses and the adult children loses it because they don't know how to manage it. So the first thing I think any parent would do in that situation, you want to make sure your adult child know how to keep it, if that's the route you want to go. But other than that, is it really worth, tying up that type of money into a short period of time? You don't have a whole lot of time to really enjoy. Well, that's just how you want to go out. You want to go out, blazing. You want to have a house that you want to live in. You don't want anybody above you, nobody below you. You want pretty much a stable payment every month, whereas rents can fluctuate. They can be $1,200 today and $2,000 tomorrow. So you do have some type of stability when you get a mortgage. The only thing you have to worry about pretty much is the taxes and the insurance going up. But other than that, if those don't go up too crazy, you pretty much can afford it. And then one of the other advantages of owning a property is that let's say if you got a house for $400,000 and you sell it and you only pay, let's say, $200,000 for it or $300,000 for it, you can sell that property and walk away if it's in a decent area with a profit that you can take that money and do something else with it, get you an apartment or whatever. And then now you got a nice little nest egg. Now that will work too. But just to buy property and you don't have any plans on what to do with it, well, then now you just being a glorified renter, because in the end, all that money you sucked into it, the bank will only be taking it back within a good 10 to 15 years. And that's it. So that's all I have for you. Again, this is Kay, back at it with a new video. Take care, guys.